Cybercrime, internet threats, natural disasters, and human errors all mean that organizations must now pay extraordinary attention to data protection. Traditionally, organizations would back up data to an archive and restore it when required. However, with the rapid growth of data and analytics, data protection is no longer limited to archiving. It now needs to be an active, open, and automated data management platform where data of all kinds are readily accessible and properly protected. Hence, today, we will talk about how we could help you to reduce compliance risk with an intelligent archiving solution. In a market where regulatory compliance is a serious matter, a CIO, or compliance officer, knows very well that implementing a compliance solution, particularly for contents like email, is a required investment in running a business. The majority of businesses would already have some kind of compliance solution in place, but the question is, to what extent are you compliant? Is your data really secure and protected from external exposures? And can you easily adapt to the frequently changing regulatory requirements and guidelines? These concerns are not commonly addressed, and in it lies a great security risk. Most times, the press and stakeholders focus on penalties and fines levied against non-compliance. However, the potential ramifications associated with finding yourself in a compliance-related lawsuit extends far beyond the penalties imposed by governing authorities. Compliance is oftentimes looked upon as a solution silo, a solution designed to address one key requirement. However, a growing number of customers are leveraging contemporary object storage solutions to address their compliance needs, while also introducing a platform to potentially generate extra revenue. This platform can be configured to provide multiple service delivery options, collaboration solutions, data archiving, application data storage, private and public cloud access, and most importantly, control and visibility over all of the data flowing across the organization. What if you could turn your compliance platform into a solution that lets your organization achieve substantial cost efficiencies, reduction in overhead, and the ability to go market faster? And doing all of this in an efficient way without disrupting your business. By embracing a data mobility strategy built upon a flexible object storage solution, you can avoid being trapped by your existing legacy technology. The right strategy will allow you to avoid situations that compromise the compliance and governance of your IP, while also unlocking your data from costly and complex silos. By freeing your data, you also get the ability to respond to the market and the competition faster. Here are some assumptions that you might be making today regarding your data compliance solution. We already have an archival software, like Veritas EV, that archives our emails, among other things, and stores them on regular storage. Why do I need your solution and worm capability? Remember that email archiving is just one aspect of a compliance solution. You must also be able to track other types of digital content beyond emails. It's inefficient to maintain silos of archiving solutions. Why not instead use one platform that was originally designed to address compliance and governance requirements that provides worm, digital shredding, and other critical features, that also provides integration with all major third-party archiving applications, including Veritas Enterprise Vault, so that you can efficiently archive and track email, structured content, and unstructured content. If our compliance solution fails, the penalties are manageable. In fact, the impact of a compliance breach is extraordinary and includes not just monetary fines, but potentially also the end of a business line, increased capital and liquidity requirements, an impact on share price, increased personal liability, forced changes to senior management, an immediate need for more highly priced risk and compliance resources, greater regulatory scrutiny, and more regulation cost for all. We've got a compliance solution in place, so our information is safe and compliance equals security. In fact, this isn't accurate. You might be compliant, but this doesn't necessarily mean you have complete control over the security and placement of your data. Also, do you realize that data will grow substantially as you archive for longer periods of time and with more types of data? Do you have a plan to back up this data? And is your backup window wide enough to accommodate this data growth rate? And do you have adequate budget to back up all of this content? Remember, loss of this data leads to non-compliance, so data protection is critical. Compliance is expensive, investing in a new solution isn't our top priority, given our other revenue-generating responsibilities. Did you know that the Ponemon Institute assessed the cost of non-compliance at 2.65 times the cost of adhering to compliance requirements? We took care of our compliance issues during our last security breach. We're confident that our content is secure. No doubt, you did everything you needed to do to resolve the breach and mitigate similar situations in the future. However, new apps are launching every day that your employees use to make data access and collaboration more efficient. The solution you implemented to resolve prior situations may not be addressing risks introduced by these new applications. Furthermore, with the explosion of data and advent of public cloud, even the Central Intelligence Agency in the US has opted public cloud. Is your current solution ready to let you adopt public cloud across all archive data? We can help you adopt public cloud for select data based on policies, recall data on premise if needed, or move from one cloud to another. Here are just a few of the penalties levied against companies that fail to adhere to email archiving regulatory guidelines. The penalties are detailed, but the other ramifications mentioned above regarding potential damage to your business are rarely documented. In 2013, FINRA announced today that it fined Barclays Capital Incorporated $3.75 million for systemic failures to preserve electronic records and certain emails and instant messages in the manner required for a period of at least 10 years. FINRA found that from at least 2002 to 2012, Barclays failed to preserve many of its required electronic books and records, including order and trade ticket data, trade confirmations, blotters, account records, and other similar records in worm format. The issues were widespread and included all of the firm's business areas. Thus, Barclays was unable to determine whether all of its electronic books and records were maintained in an unaltered condition. In October 2013, JP Morgan Chase and Company announced its first quarterly loss since 2004, despite a net revenue of $23.9 billion. The loss came in large part from $9.15 billion in pre-tax legal expenses that accrued in a large number of lawsuits and regulatory actions that have plagued JP Morgan since the 2008 financial crisis. These dynamics provide an extreme illustration of the often abstract business case of governance, risk, and compliance (GRC) initiatives. The events underlying JP Morgan's various legal woes demonstrate how poor compliance leadership results in scenarios that create significant threats to profitability and viability. JP Morgan's rather loose approach to risk and compliance over the past several years may have created significant short-term gains, but they have also created tremendous exposures. In the end, this has taken its toll in escalating legal costs, seemingly endless litigation, and post hoc controls investments, including adding 5,000 heads to its compliance and control staff. In 2010, EchoStar Satellite, the designer, developer, and distributor of television set-top boxes, was fined for the second time in November of last year. New York State Judge Richard Lowe concluded EchoStar, quote, systematically destroyed evidence in direct violation of the law and in the face of a ruling, end quote. That's after it was previously sanctioned for deleting messages after just 21 days, against the federal rules of civil procedure mandates. The second penalty was levied against a lawsuit in which a company was already seeking $2.5 billion in damages from EchoStar. Court fines defendant $931,500 in Predaxa class action after repealed failures to implement legal holdings. The class action product liability case against Boehringer Ingelheim Pharmaceuticals Incorporated, or BIPI, regarding the blood-thinning drug sold as Predaxa took a stunning turn with December 9, 2013 opinion by Chief Judge David R. Herndon of the Southern District of Illinois. In the blistering opinion, the court cited failure after failure, including misrepresentation of BIPI's efforts to issue an adequate litigation hold, which resulted in a fine of $931,500 plus additional costs of the plaintiff's steering committee, PSC, in pursuing these allegations. When the September 25, 2013 opinion, as first reported, BIPI had avoided sanctions for failure to preserve a key executive's files by showing that the information was deleted according to a standard retention policy prior to the trigger event. From September to December, many revelations showed that BIPI had wholly inadequate preservation processes in place that led to a finding of bad faith. The court zeroed in on 4 key failures as follows: the failure to preserve the records of Professor Thorsten Löhr, a high-level scientist who had published articles on Pradaxa and was clearly a key custodian of the product's development. Inadequate and untimely implementation of supplemental litigation holds for sales representatives, including taking a piecemeal approach in issuing the hold incrementally rather than to all of the correct custodians, resulting in some not being instructed to preserve data until more than a year after the duty to preserve attached. Not giving the company handling collections passwords for the shared network drive, resulting in tardy efforts to identify and produce responsive information. The failure to save text messages, a primary system for internal communications between employees and supervisors, but not instructing custodians to preserve them and not disabling the automatic deletion of the messages. In 2009, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, handed down $50 million in fines for email archiving non-compliance. At a time of constrained budgets for the NHC, the headlines in early June made for grim reading. The Brighton and Sussex University Hospitals, NHS Trust, have had the largest ever fine imposed, £325,000, by the Information Commissioner's Office, ICO. The last thing a company wants is to find themselves as a headline in a business journal for the wrong reasons. Negative news can lead to a drop in investor confidence, bad publicity, weakened share price, and ultimately loss of jobs, or even worse, forced wind down of the company. As we mentioned earlier, the impact is way beyond monetary penalties. Having a defensible information management, including automated retention and expiration processes, can help to mitigate the severity and duration of these exposures. HDS and Veritas believe that the time for better information management is now. Without it, storage costs spiral, information becomes harder to find, risks of legal action and privacy breaches escalate, and the return on virtualization is diminished. There are 4 actions every organization should take to eliminate information islands and effectively and efficiently manage information. 1. Protect completely by backing up, whether it is a physical or a virtual environment, archiving for the long term and stopping data loss. 2. Deduplicate everywhere. Deduplicate as close to information sources as possible is how organizations derive the biggest benefit. 3. Delete confidently. Use backup and archiving technology to establish policies and delete automatically to reduce storage and the risk from keeping everything forever. 4. Discover efficiently to deliver a compliance and litigation-ready information infrastructure. Auditors, investigators, and lawyers will be able to find information without disrupting the IT environment. Despite these complications, the business benefits of keeping just what you need are substantial. First of all, you can keep just the data you need to restore systems back to a recent state without having to hold them any longer than a month or 2. In other words, you keep them just for DR and don't pretend it's a usable long-term repository. No tape mountain. Secondly, information proliferates. There have been more than 10 drafts of this presentation, and those have been attached to multiple emails, uploaded to SharePoint and stored on file shares, as well as backups of each of those systems. Eliminating redundant copies and deleting the older versions saves far more storage than you might initially imagine. So deletion is not just about lower primary storage costs. It's repeated across all of your systems. Storage costs, however, pale in comparison to legal and regulatory costs because it's 1,500 times more expensive to review a document than to store it. E-discovery review means looking at thousands, sometimes millions of documents that might be potentially relevant. This is a skilled task, which means the cost per hour is very high. The longer you keep things, the worse this gets. There's no need to review information that has been automatically deleted according to a standard information management policy. A well-deployed archiving strategy can save up to 60% in backup costs and reduce your backup times by up to 80%. Backups, 1, should not be used instead of an archiving solution, and 2, should not be used for legal holds. Backups cannot sustain e-discovery requirements. Multiple copies are discrepancies that need to be reconciled or explained. Backups are not organized. E-discovery is looking for needles in a haystack. Backups often keep records beyond their retention policy. Pulling tapes, restoring, and searching backups is time-consuming. Quote, legal hold, end quote, in backups can wipe out your storage. 70% of backups have infinite retention and are under legal hold. Backups protect active information for use. Archives store information to improve the efficiency of messaging applications and storage infrastructure, and to meet legal and policy requirements. Too often overlooked, archiving can help organizations cut back time and storage dramatically, eliminate expensive, time wasting, risky employee email collections, and accelerate search and legal discovery. Pressures on backup processes have grown with the volume of information that needs protection. New storage technologies add management complexity. Centralizing backup storage and management across geographies and technologies offers end-to-end visibility across backup environments and supports cost-effective, future-ready strategies such as tiered storage. The combination of backup and recovery technologies with archiving enhances traditional backup and recovery or archiving alone by reducing the size of data storage of applications such as Microsoft Exchange, Microsoft SharePoint, or other file servers. Small data stores shrink backup and recovery times and can help save money on storage and storage management. More important, this archive data can be leveraged for greater value through search and retrieval tools. End users benefit from the ability to initiate their own restores quickly, and IT groups spend less time on administrative requests. Archiving faces growth not only in the volume and variety of unstructured information, but also in the urgency of demands to find and produce records quickly for employees, regulators, and courts. Choices of what, where, and how to archive have major impact on storage costs. As storage volume continues to grow, the move from tape to disk, multimedia, email, and collaboration content, and increased regulation and litigation will demand planned, balanced, effective backup and archiving processes. Reducing costs with archiving. Reduce data in the backup stream by backing up less. Current stale data or data which meets archiving policy goes into a long-term object store platform, easily accessible if required. Archived files are presented as a stub/link to the user, which can be accessed by a click of the mouse. Data that is currently dynamic and yet to be created data may also be eligible for future long-term storage, again, depending on the archiving policy set. File system data is a high-growth, short lifecycle data, followed by semi-structured data, email, the structured database. File system data is the easiest to migrate to another platform. Dramatically reduce the costs to support legal and regulatory discovery processes through e-discovery. Leading archiving solution. Veritas Enterprise Vault archives emails and files from primary storage and servers to a centrally managed archive repository. Retention policies can be placed on content and are centrally managed and enforced by Hitachi Content Platform as the storage layer. Once stored, EV allows quick search and retrieval of archived messages and files. It provides necessary analytics such as constructing trails of email message. This capability is important for compliance applications where legal discovery requests are prevalent and failure to comply can be costly. Veritas does not, quote, containerize, end quote, email and file data when stored in HCP. Because Enterprise Vault stores unique objects in content platform, it can, quote, expire, end quote, email and files at a granular level. Once retention periods are complete, objects can be deleted and shredded, maximizing storage capacity and ensuring that compliance requirements are met. Unlike traditional storage solutions, HCP is architected as an object storage solution, enabling long-term fixed content preservation that can potentially cross generations of storage and server hardware. The proactive content platform authentication policies continually validate the digital signature of content, ensuring that it does not change over time. It also provides write once, read many, worm capability, storage level RAID, and support for up to 4 copies of data. Optional offsite replication ensures that archives are available even in the event of a disaster. Content platform encryption and access control provide complete security of critical data. With HCP, you can do more than just compliance. HCP provides the ideal ecosystem to support customers' existing content-centric applications and serves as the single foundation for storing data from multiple applications and data sources. It can be virtualized into multiple uniquely configured tenants, and namespaces to help organize and segregate data and control access to content. Its flexible architecture supports traditional applications, such as a variety of archiving applications, file, email, recordings, database, SharePoint, medical images, etc., and serve as the repository for newer Web 2.0 S3-enabled cloud, big data, mobile sync and share, remote and branch office file and open source application data, all from a single point of management. Here are 4 ways you can start managing information to reduce cost and complexity. 1. To protect completely, use active archiving to store efficiently and automatically retain, hold, and delete for the long term. That means your backup infrastructure, whether it is a virtual or physical environment, will be deduplicated, short-term focused, and can be replicated to other sites as a highly cost-effective disaster recovery technology. 2. To deduplicate everywhere, use archiving to deduplicate email, files, and SharePoint while ensuring they're still accessible. Deduplicate backups at the source to dramatically reduce storage, network traffic, and backup times. 3. Delete confidently by making deletion part of your default archiving policy, ensuring that you can stop hoarding backup tapes. Repurpose your backup to be online, short-term, deduplicated, and replicated for DR. 4. Finally, your deduplicated archive can be efficiently indexed to ensure you don't try to index everything forever, can find only what you need, review it quickly and cheaply without expensive outside legal teams. You can also be sure emails, documents, and other items are subject to legal hold and only deleted when they're no longer required. When combined, Hitachi Content Platform and Veritas Enterprise Vault deliver efficiency, automation, authentication, and improved search and retrieval. They make the day-to-day lives of end users, including IT and legal administrators, more efficient. Enterprise Vault has been in the market for more than 10 years and has more customers around the world than any other similar product in the market. EV's policy engine uses classification and other variables to determine how long information should be kept in the archive. Hitachi Content Platform was originally designed in 2004 to address compliance and governance records. 13 years later, there is no other object storage solution available that offers a comparable breadth of compliance and governance features within a highly open and flexible platform. EV plus HCP is the foundation for your compliance solution. More data away from their silos. Set different access and retention policies, eliminating the regulatory compliance burden. Built-in query capabilities help empower users to search across all data to respond to queries more quickly while protecting the integrity of your content. For more information, visit our website or contact your local HDS sales representative. We would be glad to arrange for a demo or to do an assessment of your compliance needs together with an HDS solution architect. Contact us now, info.hk@hds.com. Thank you.